Hey girlfriends, how are you? We're in the car. I just love this. I'm having so much fun bringing my friends into the car and just having these little conversations. These are brave, I'm calling it the brave, celebrating being brave tour. And it's going to be, we're going to be launching a podcast here in July. We're going to be having interviews like this in the car. And of course, some girls that are at a distance will do it. I'll be in the car and maybe you'll be in your car on the other side. But we'll just have some fun and some laughter and talking about important things. And the other thing that I'm really excited about is we're creating a publication celebrating being everyday brave. It's going to be a little field guide for you to have in your hot little hands to get you through those next brave steps. And one of the pieces of that in this first issue was we're going to be talking about your story. Why it's important to maybe write your story, share your story, inspire others with your story, all these different things. And I have Deanna Nowadnick here with me today. Yay! And she is the one who is going to be, who is contributing to help us write our story. But before we get there, Deanna, thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. What fun.
Yes, what fun. And the reason, I mean, you have some expertise. You've written multiple books, and your latest adventure is these beautiful, darling books, children's books. And I've got one for my granddaughter, Olive, who's coming in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it's just so tell us a little bit. You started writing stories, though. I love this story about how you started writing. You started writing letters.
Yeah. I used to, when the kids were little, I'd write crazy family letters about life with 2 young sons. And my mom would always get the letters and call me and say, you need to write a book. And I'd look across the table at my boys sitting with bowls of artificial flavorings, dyes, and preservatives, and Mom, I haven't got a grocery list put together. So, I just continued to write these fun little letters. But then as the boys got older, I wanted to tell the story, our family story. Before things digressed into too many tee-hee moments, I wanted the boys to know how they'd been part of a very special family, a wonderful marriage. Mm-hmm. So I started writing one story about love that I thought I would print on very pretty paper and bestow it upon them at the next family gathering. Well, what happens when you write? One story leads to another story, leads to another story. And I ended up with many stories, and I thought to myself, well, actually, I exclaimed to anyone within earshot, I think I wrote a book. Unfortunately, we are at a time where we don't need New York calling to get a book in print.
Right.
So we have so many ways to tell stories. So it was fun. And of course, one book led to a second book, led to a third book, which led to a couple children's books. So
wow.
It's been a wonderful adventure.
Yeah, that is, and I've been a part of seeing you do this, and it's so exciting. And so, girls, I'm sorry, I think our camera went a little, it's tilting downward. I think there's a knob there I need to adjust or something. So, yeah, here we are.
So
and I want to make sure, Deanna, so girls, make sure that if you see that we're not both in the camera, let us know, write us a little note or something there. Yeah, so this is one thing. So, ladies, you can write your story here, but Deanna's going to help you with this in this field guide that's coming out in July. You just have a fun little way to write the story. But before we even get there, some of you have a really important story to share, but you're not sure, one, how to do it. You don't necessarily want anybody to hear or see it. Because you're afraid of being judged. I know I was like, oh, do I want to be that vulnerable? Because you don't want to come across as being whiny or complaining or all those things. So that's why you actually need to have some kind of format to help guide you. And that's what we're calling these ladies our guides, to help us guide us to share a story and tell us a little bit about why it's even important. You know, maybe you, like we were talking earlier, and it's like, maybe you don't want to share it with anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just for you.
Yeah. When we tell our stories, we honor the journey. We have all been part of some of the most amazing experiences and some awful ones. I didn't immediately start writing about some of the challenges in life. I started with some fun, happy ones. It took me probably till late in the second book, maybe the third book, before I was able to get down on paper some of the more challenging experiences in life. I just wasn't ready.
Well, I like that. I'm really glad that. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted because this thought came as like, I like that idea of starting with maybe something happy. A happy story that brought joy or excitement, because those stories are just as important as the ones that, are hard.
Yeah. And in the writing guide that you talked about, I encourage women to just brainstorm the stories they could tell. Happy stories, sad stories, challenging stories, stories of accomplishment. Just what is the story that you could tell? You may not be ready to tell it. It may be something that gets told in time. You may not have words for the story yet. You still may be dealing with just what happened, the experience, the feelings. And I think it's important to remember that all stories do not have to be stories for us. They might be just stories for you. It might be a chance just to get some thoughts and some feelings just down on paper, just a chance to own them, to say, yep, that really did happen. That is really how I felt. I put on the mask. I put on the, I looked like I was doing oh so very well, but here's what was really going on. And those may be things that you put down on paper just for you. Because as we talk about storytelling, and especially as we talk about sharing brave stories, that may be the first step in our bravery, is just getting words down. It may not be words for Karen and for the Fave ladies. It may not be words for our family. It might be just words for us.
Girls, I'm going to repeat that. Those words might just be for us. So I will tell you, when I wrote my story, and okay, I'm just like, it's welling up emotion here in me, because Deanna, when I wrote my story for the book, and I went back and read it, I had to weep. And it's been a while since I've been through my story, and I've told it many times, but when I wrote it on paper and I had it in front of me, and I took a step back and I could read it, there was layers and layers of healing I still had to do, and I had no idea. I didn't know I had to get rid of some of the grief or all these things, and I could see it from a different perspective. Yeah. But I had to weep a little bit and get through those other layers, but I could see it on paper though.
Yeah. And it was your way of embracing a young woman who had been through a lot. A way of honoring her, holding her, making it okay. Even though the experience may not have been okay. To this day, Karen, when I speak, I have notes in hand. It is very uncomfortable for me to be sitting here today without notes in hand. Why? Because when I was 17 years old, 17, that's a few decades ago, when I was 17 years old, I was on stage without notes, and it did not go well. I have not told that story. It took me 40 years before I could tell that story, because it was so humiliating, and it colored every speaking thing I did. But once I had a chance to tell the story, I could honor her, even though she did her best. It wasn't the best, but it was okay. It was okay. To this day, I will speak with notes. It's my way of giving the young woman what she didn't have at the time. So some stories we may put out there because we want to encourage others. We want to encourage our daughters-in-law. We want to support the little girls in our life, and other stories that may be just for us.
Yeah.
Just for us.
And I love that word honor. Honoring your story, validating those emotions. That's what it's about, girls. That's why I am going, and I have to applaud you for being here today. This is a brave step for Deanna, too, because she has no notes. No notes. We're all stepping out there. Girls, but we're here together.
Yes.
And knowing that, like you said, it's okay. It's okay, girls. We can, and I think also when I think of writing the story, getting over kind of those emotions of, oh, can I share my story, in a way that will be a positive for other people and inspire. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest blessings is that when I share women and their stories and somebody says, oh, that really related to something that, that happened in my life. Yeah. Or, yes, I had that emotion too. And when those moments of relatability, if you will, and because then it honors who they are as well. Yeah. And that's the ripple effect that we're creating, is this beautiful piece that it's okay that we can get through this together, whether it's something really exciting and good or
awful.
Let's just put it out there where there's a lot of stuff that's hard.
And the other thing you've talked about, Karen, are moments of just ordinary bravery.
Yeah.
Everyday bravery, and the really big brave moments. And when I first heard you talk about brave stories, I was thinking to myself, oh, that must be their stories. I had a moment where I didn't appreciate my own brave steps. And as I've watched you embrace our brave stories, it's like we all have brave stories.
It's that everyday brave.
Yep, brave steps, brave challenge. We've made brave changes.
Yes.
And you never know what extraordinarily brave thing life will ask of us tomorrow that we never saw coming.
Okay, good. I have to say, I've done some brave things this week.
Okay.
But part of my brave story is just I'm launching a podcast. I have never done a podcast. It seemed a little overwhelming, to be quite honest, and I've done a lot of big things. But this, for some reason, had me kind of stuck. I'm like, is it going to be too much? Is it going to be too much commitment? I didn't want to overcommit to what I've got.
What's the first thing I said to you? Oh, that's big, Karen. So let's feed into that.
But I had to take it each step at a time and really realize why. What is the purpose? What is this? Why are we having these car conversations? Yeah. And so we can have that relatability. Girls, whether you're having a conversation or you're just stepping out and you're just making a decision to whether you should retire or not retire or take a trip or whatever it is, because maybe you're a single woman and you're like, okay, I want to go on a vacation, but how do I do that by myself? Yeah. Girls, those are big things. Those are, that's that everyday brave that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Or, there's so many things that we have.
I love being a mom, and the house is empty now. You and I have talked. We have little girls in our lives now, little granddaughters. How can we use support and encourage them? Yes. I look at little Louisa in my life.
Sorry.
It's
the 4th of July.
How can I support a little girl who right now owns her feelings? She knows what she wants. She knows how she feels. Granted, that shows up in temper tantrums at times, which does not bode well when you're older. But I want her to know that voice that she has now, she can use 10 years from now, 30 years from now, how to make sure that she knows that she can, she should speak up, speak out. I want her to know that her thoughts and feelings are valuable because I didn't always feel that way.
Who else can relate? Where's my little relate badge here?
Paddles.
I didn't think that my voice was valuable either. Anybody else relate to that? That my opinions, everybody else had bigger, better, whatever opinions, and that my voice was squished. In fact, that's kind of how I survived, is that I allowed everybody else to speak for me. Speak for me, tell me how I felt, all these different things, not thinking that my voice mattered. Until I changed that and realized I had a choice. So girls, you have a choice.
Yep.
You know, and especially on this 4th of July that we're bringing this to you, realize that there is the freedom of choice, and to honor your story, to honor that you have value that you bring, that there is, with your voice, your story, you might inspire somebody else that is going through something else hard or challenging or overcoming or being resilient, whatever that is, that, or, you know, stepping out and being visible.
You had a car convo
Yeah.
with Christina Johnson.
Yes, I did.
And my big takeaway, a young woman who's been through a lot, all caps. And what did she talk about? What lesson is there in this moment?
Yes.
Okay, I may not be able to relate to some of the things that she's had to overcome, but just here, what lesson? What am I here to learn? What can I learn from this?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yes. And one of the things that you mentioned too about your granddaughter and about the lessons learned, when I first started Fave, one of the reasons I wanted to also have a show and share my story was because I wanted my granddaughter to know me sharing my story and and who I was as a younger woman, because she's going to remember me as older.
You can have younger moments.
Yeah. And so she can see me sharing and stepping out, being brave.
Yeah.
So she knows she can do it too. You know, and I love how, just instilling that in our granddaughters. So whether you have a granddaughter, maybe you have a niece, maybe you have a little
daughters-in-law. Yeah.
Daughters-in-law. And just, it gives them the permission to know that it's okay to step out as a woman and share in a beautiful way. And that's why we give you some framework to do it with Deanna's worksheet, or you can also, we have a interview form at Fave too. What I would suggest, because it is a little scary to share your story, and especially if you have never done anything like this and you're like, I might have a story that might inspire, give somebody else hope. When the Field Guide comes out in July, take a look, because you have it the way that you have it laid out is just so fun and lighthearted, and you can just, it's cute, and you can put your little things in the little boxes and things. It's just a really easy way to go, okay, what if I were to share a story? What might this, and like you said, and then brainstorm about what stories, and it's just a great way to start. Yeah. And it's just very easy.
Because what I've learned is the important thing is just to get the words down on paper, and then the magic will happen. More of the story will have a chance to come out. Thoughtful thoughts. You'll just, it's just amazing what happens when words get down. And then you ask me, okay, we've got this lovely guide. What happens now? Yeah. And that's where we go back to letter writing, where the first thing you might do is write a letter to yourself, or maybe it's a letter to your favorite niece. I remember when I graduated from high school, I thought I had it all figured out too. It's just, again, just a chance to get words down on paper, because once you start,
things start flowing. Yeah. And like you said too, whether it's just for you, or it's for the letters for someone, whether you send it or not, or if you decide to do something else with it, to share it, like in our community, or whatever that looks like for you girls. Yeah. Just start. Get that one word on the paper. So looking forward to this coming out. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing and encouraging ladies to share their story.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Any last words you would like to leave with the ladies on this 4th of July? And note to self. turn off notifications on your phone so it doesn't keep beeping.
And for the woman whose phone is in her purse, did you hear it buzzing? Sorry.
No, I didn't actually.
Okay.
Here's
Good.
back there.
Good. You know, it's 4th of July, and a day we celebrate freedom, and you mentioned it a little earlier here. You know, the freedom we can get when we tell our stories. Freedom from shame, freedom from the angst, freedom, you know, the fears that we've had. What a wonderful time to celebrate.
Yeah.
Just our own bravery.
Yeah. Deanna, thank you. And here I was trying to put the camera just more on you because that was so beautiful. It didn't go quite as smoothly, you know. So we're learning this system because this is all new for me, and you know, it's just really beautiful to be able to celebrate today with you. It's just. You know, girls, come celebrate with us. That's what it's all about. And that freedom to be able to do so, I do not take lightly.
I don't either.
And so gonna give you all some hugs and some love on this 4th of July. And go have a fun day.
Thank you.
Bye, girls.
Having fun.